fine.
You just moved to New York City.
I did.
You're originally from the Northwest, as I recall.
Yep,
and now you're in New York City. How do you like it?
I think it's fine.
Yeah?
I think it's fine. Although in the building that I live in, they keep putting signs up that say, you know, since Monday, 3 people have been mugged in this hallway, and then you go out to get milk, and you come back, and it's crossed out, and it says 4.
Ooh.
So,
well, yeah, that's...
Yeah, and people are calm about their mugging stories, so that's been a little bit hard.
Do you find it stimulating to be in this environment, or do you find it a little frightening?
It's very stimulating to go through the hall. You know?
What kind of childhood did you have?
Well, I grew up in a neighborhood that was kind of, like a ethnically mixed up neighborhood.
This is again in the Northwest?
Yeah, in the Northwest. But it
Seattle?
was the one pocket where it really was Soul City. And everybody in our neighborhood, mainly, like, we tried to make our career choices pretty young. And like, we all decided we wanted to be the man from U.N.C.L.E. For a while. And then it changed, and we all suddenly decided we wanted to be pimps when we grew up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which was based because there was a thing in our neighborhood called pimp socks.
Pimp socks?
Have you ever
No,
worn
I'm
them?
not familiar with pimp socks.
There are these socks that are kind of nylon-y socks with little stripes in them, and they come in bright colors. And
we call them Wendell socks here.
Wendell?
Yeah.
Well, in my neighborhood, they're called pimp socks.
I see.
And for $1, you could get them. And they're men's socks, so you had to kind of fold them over when you put them in your tennis shoes. And then you'd be pimping.
What about your parents and your family? Was that fairly normal, or?
Well, yeah, it was normal for me, but I'm a quarter Filipino. My mother's from the Philippines.
Is that right?
Yeah, and so like all my other relatives look Filipino, but my mother married a white man, so I came out like this. And my grandmother lived with us, and she was definitely from the Philippines. I mean, she's kind of like a National Geographic kind of woman. She.
Well, what does that mean exactly?
Well, she smokes cigarettes with the lighted end in her mouth. It's called sapalpal, if you want to know how to say it later on.
What's the purpose of doing that?
Well, I guess like in the Philippines, when you plant rice and stuff, it's kind of wet work, so you want to have your cigarette so that you don't have to keep taking it out and blowing smoke and stuff, so they smoke it with the lighted end in their mouth. But she won't do it in front of white people, which was sad, because I was sure that if I could get her to do it in front of my friends, that I would be more popular for having a grandmother who did this.
But let's go back to that for just a second, because it makes no sense to me at all.
I know.
The lighted end of the cigarette is in her mouth, so she doesn't have to keep taking it out?
Right, yeah. And so that when she watches Wheel of Fortune, she can, like, yell.
Oh, no, no.
It's true. It's true. Yep. That's her favorite thing to do, is smoke a cigarette with a light in her mouth and watch Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
I swear to...
Well, no, I believe you. I believe you.
Right,
I just think that it is odd and dangerous. Her tongue, I mean, she must have a pretty badly scarred tongue.
No, it's normal to her. I tried to get her to teach me to do it. In fact, I took her. She likes to gamble. She's like a compulsive gambler. And I took her to Reno, her and her sister, not too long ago, with the idea of getting her drunk and having her teach me how to smoke with a lighted end. But it didn't work.
She wouldn't go. Yeah.
And I found out the reason why she doesn't like to do it in front of people who aren't Filipino is that she was smoking it with a light end in her mouth once, and a guy came by, and all he saw was this old lady with an unlit cigarette in her mouth, so he lit it. And she had to, like, run to the bathroom, well, walk very coolly. And then,
Yeah, so she's got trouble on both ends, as we say. Yeah, but you wanted her to teach you how to do that. Like, smoking in and of itself isn't bad enough.
Right.
You got to learn how to do it the dangerous way with the hot end in your...
Well, when you grow up as that, she was sort of the ringleader of the neighborhood. She was sort of our influence, and I really wanted to be able to do that.
Did your friends like coming over to visit with your grandmother?
Well, I didn't like them to come into our kitchen or the house, because we had a lot of pretty spooky food. I don't know. Well, I mean, we had like octopus legs in the refrigerator, and like this food that the English interpretation is like midnight meat or blackout. So midnight meat.
Midnight meat.
Blackout.
Blackout.
Dinuguan is what it's called. So, and there are a lot of smells in my house.
But what is it? What is midnight meat? What does that refer to?
Well, they call it chocolate meat now, because they found that they can get people to eat it easier, calling it that. It's a stew that's made with blood that comes in mayonnaise jars from your uncle.
Is that right?
From your uncle's house.
Yeah. Paul Newman has a line of that stuff, doesn't he? Gee, this. I mean, as a child, this must have been. Was this just business as usual for you, or was this?
In our neighborhood, that wasn't that unusual. I mean, it was a pretty interesting neighborhood. And then, And then I was like one of these kids who was really good at dialing, you know, like winning stuff on the radio, like being the fifth caller, like I won our turkeys on Thanksgiving, you know, when the turkey would gobble and stuff. I was
getting
good.
more and more pathetic.
Well, no, it was good. I was respected for it, and I won the soundtrack to Hair.
Ah.
And when it came, see, like my brothers and I were the only white-looking people in our neighborhood, and when the soundtrack came and I put it on the turntable and I played it, I said, these are my people. Like I had found.
You had arrived.
I was a hippie.
No longer
I found my
disenfranchised.
identity. Yeah.
How old were you when this happened?
I was like 13.
Yeah.
And so when I found out that Hair was coming to Seattle, do you remember Peter Max?
Sure.
Okay, I got some stockings by him, you know, with his drawings, and that's how I started doing cartooning. Was I would copy the drawings off my legs during math.
Wow. Yeah. This has been a very strange existence for you, hasn't it? But you're here in New York. I'm very surprised but happy to have you in the neighborhood, and I hope things work out for you. Are you going to be anywhere? Do we need to mention this?
No,
Just
I'm
the
right
book.
here, dude.
Oh. And so she is. Nice to see you, Lynda. Thank you very much for being here. We'll do a commercial and be right back.